Hello, I'm Mike Valentine. Here is your life purpose guide. In this segment, I'm going to lead you through a map of your learning journey. In the process, I'll give you an overview of the terrain you cover inside yourself in the life game on purpose. In my experience, the path of purpose can be like Mount Everest. This game and all the services, games, and tools we provide lead you on a climb, which really can be the Mount Everest of your potential. If you want to climb and stand at the top of the world, Mount Everest is the only way. The pathway of purpose is similar. It's the Mount Everest of human potential. Think of it as the Mount Everest of your potential. Purpose is a path that leads the inner journey through the heart of your essential self and goes all the way to the top. It reaches the summit of your potential. Just like putting one foot in front of the other, making every step count, takes you up Mount Everest, there are fundamental steps that lead you up the peaks of purpose and to the discovery of your essential self. You take one step at a time to reach the top of the world on Mount Everest. The same very basic fundamentals in the life game is running the next play on purpose. Make a decision, run your play on purpose. This will lead to the peaks of your potential just as surely, and the discovery of who you really are. Also, like Mount Everest, there are two primary fuels that motivate you. On Everest, the fear of falling or freezing are one motivator, and the other motivator is the desire and inspiration to stand at the top of the world. On the inner journey to the peaks of your potential, there are two motivators as well. Fear is one, and purpose is the other. You'll learn to be motivated by fear or purpose in your life. In fact, you'll learn to see the difference between these two operating systems, both in your view of life and within yourself. Let's look at the pre-game phase of your life game on purpose. You might think of it as arriving at base camp if you're climbing Mount Everest. As you're getting ready for the excursions, there are some things that would become so obviously important, even imperative. You'd surely want to check your gear and supplies. You'd want to get to know the people you're taking the trek with. And in your life game on purpose, the things to consider before the start are that your gift is the fuel for the journey. What is it inside of you that you want to give most to yourself and to the world? This is what fuels you for your journey in the life game on purpose. Your purpose is what provides the thrust and the power to climb. And finally, your vision serves as the compass, setting true north as you're heading. We could say this is the operating system of your essential self. Another component is your key plays. These give you the important things you want to focus on to make the most of your game and experience. What is it that's going to make this game be a lasting difference in your life? What do you want to focus on? Your key plays bring that element. And then when you need a lifeline of support, or when you're just totally enthused to share your insight and your learning, your inspiration, you'll lean into your team. So the pregame essentials are straightforward. Establish your gift, purpose, and vision. Write your key plays. Contact and connect with your team. Remember not to forget these valuable activities. They'll pay off later. There are video and guide modules in the app for establishing your gift, purpose, and vision. There's another guide module for writing your key plays. And there's a pre-populated email that helps open the connection and conversations with your team. I hope you'll invest in these valuable elements of the game for yourself. I'm going to cover your game journey now. I'll go through this in increments of quarters, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The quarters in the game are 3-week intervals. The first quarter is when you want to get your head in the game. As you enter the mountain of your potential, it's time to really start thinking and looking ahead, just like entering Mount Everest, stepping onto the mountain of your potential can be both awe-inspiring and perhaps overwhelming. Now imagine it's time to break base camp and start up the mountain. As the time grows near, there are an array of emotions you might experience as you look to the journey ahead. You might experience awe, bliss, manic. You might experience abject fear and terror. The full range is available as you live on purpose, and you want to understand this too shall pass. Let yourself settle. Use the first quarter to get your head in the game. This game in living on purpose comes with a steep learning curve. Be patient with yourself. Look to find your joy and pace of learning. You're about to learn a lot. It's a game for living on purpose, not living perfectly. You'll be acclimating to a new way of life. It doesn't happen overnight. The game's designed to bring forward what matters most to you, to bring out what's in the center of your heart to be the center of your life. The new awareness can be a lot to digest, though. Take some deep breaths. This will pass as you learn more about yourself and find your sweet spot to play from. Early in the game, the majority of the learning is by failure. I know you've heard that failure is the pathway to success. You likely fell down a few times when you were learning to walk. Then you succeeded with your first step. Then you took two in a row. One day you started running. Small changes sustained over time can be more successful than heroic efforts for a short run. Be patient. There are a plethora of tools to support your progress. You can lean on your team. You have a guide on the journey with you. That's me. The most valuable thing to learn early on is to stop fighting with yourself. Stop fighting with other people. Stop fighting with life as it is. Accepting yourself as you are, here and now, and running the next play on purpose is the most powerful, fundamental you can develop in your mindset. Forgive myself, accept things as they are, run the next play. There are three questions that will support the growing clarity, power, and speed of your journeys on purpose. These really are the entry questions to living on purpose. The first one is, do you want to live on purpose now? This is a question our ego seems to want to avoid, yet it's a closed-ended question, and it can be answered yes or no. You want to watch how your ego doesn't want to answer that question directly. It answers other questions. The second question is, are you willing to see and admit what's in the way? If you were climbing Mount Everest, it would be weather, rocks, steep grades, treacherous trails, sharp edges, and cold. You'll find some similar things in the thought system of the ego that's based in fear as you start to look inside and bring what's important forward. And the third question is, will you use this moment, this situation, these people, this game to support your learning and living on purpose now? When you hear a resounding yes to these questions, they restore you to your own free will and your choice. They subconsciously release the right to be a victim, and they start to break up and dissolve old patterns. One of the early lessons will be learning to look through fear, seeing it for what it is, yet focusing on the peaks of your potential that lie beyond it. On Mount Everest, you'd practice looking through fear, then putting one foot in front of the other and making every step count. In this game, you'll learn to see and admit fear, then focus on giving your gift that lies beyond it, living the purpose that you're here to live, and creating the vision you have of a better self and world. In this way, practice is playing in the life game on purpose. I like to make a sport of this game and a sport of living on purpose. I keep it fun, light, and I look at it like it's just a chance to learn or run the next play. Either I learn or I succeed. Either way, I'm succeeding. There are valuable things to remember in the first quarter. The first one is the game and living on purpose has a learning curve. It'll be steep at times. The second one is playing is winning. There's no way to lose a game on purpose except by not playing. You run the next play on purpose. You score every day. and share with your team, and you will be winning. You'll start to feel the momentum and power and thrust of that purpose. And the third one is the game teaches itself to you as you play. Stay with it and trust yourself. Okay, let's shift now and start to look at the second quarter in your life game on purpose. You'll be building momentum and learning how to ride it from a place of purpose. Again, this is a path that can take you all the way to the top of your potential. And in the second quarter of this game, kind of the scope of climbing the mountain of your potential starts to come into view. That is, you start to see what is the mountain of your potential and what's it really made of. The simple mechanics to get you to the top, or you decide and run the next play on purpose. Yet the mountain itself is made up of applying your intention, honesty, and practice to train your thought, energy, and action, that is your T on purpose, so that it is consistent with your gift, purpose, and vision. This is a time when the learning curve is not as steep in the second quarter. You pass through many of the psychological and emotional thresholds of time that it takes to develop new habits. You'll likely feel a sense of momentum and understanding as your ability expands. It'll start to kind of carry you along. You'll seem that there's an undercurrent pulling you the way you want to go. Along with the mountain of your potential coming into view, so do so many of the fundamental games and what it takes to live on purpose. Here are a few of the highlights that you may experience in the second quarter. You may learn the value of giving equal mind share to your success in the second quarter. This brings a sense of power from being motivated by purpose rather than being driven by fear. We, or at least I, can be all too fast to be critical of myself. And learning to give equal attention to success and progress helps that success and progress grow. In the second quarter, the idea that the fastest way back to purpose could start to be a working part of your mind. It could start to be something that works its way down into the grit and grain of your life. Forgive yourself, get back in the game. Learning to run the next play on purpose can give access to appreciating progress over perfection and leading us to new clarity, power, and speed. You could realize that you'll never find outside of yourself the power and potential that's only inside of you. Let me ask you a bad question. Would you go to a cow to get eggs? Most people say, no, silly. Cows don't lay eggs. They give milk. Chickens lay eggs. Exactly. And so what I'm saying is now is the time to stop looking outside for what you can only find inside you. We could say this place called ground zero, the bottom of your heart. That's where you're going to find what you've been looking for. Okay, there are steep grades ahead. The game prepares now for what it demands later. Paying attention, staying with the fundamentals, scoring, sharing with your team, and staying in the game. Enjoy this sense of momentum and ease that can come with familiarity, repetition, and the subconscious starting to support your new habits. Just as Mount Everest teaches you, Mount Everest, the life game on purpose, teaches itself to you. As you learn, playing is winning. The only way to lose in a life game on purpose is to not play. Let's look at the third quarter now. The steepest hill in the climb comes in the third quarter of the game. Weeks 7, 8, and 9 make up the third quarter, and this is where it gets steep. It shows you what you're really made of, and it may be more than you imagine. In other words, what you're made of may be more than you imagine. There are gifts in doing what it takes to reach way down inside yourself. What we find at ground zero is the bottom of our heart. It's a beautiful and powerful awakening to our essential self. I've heard a definition of courage as strength at the testing point. This stage of the game will build that kind of courage for you as you stay with it. You'll start to feel strength at the testing point, ability to choose your purpose in the moments of truth, it getting down in the grain and grit of your life. The climb is steep. The third quarter is a steep climb. Yet, you can do it. You're stronger than you think. The voices of your inner barriers may seem louder than ever. And this can be a result of becoming more and more aware of them. They may not actually be any louder, but you may be more aware. You'll know them better than ever. The brighter you shine your light of purpose, the darker the shadows may get. The novelty of the game will likely wear off in this third quarter if it hasn't before. This is no time to turn back. The process, the mountain of your potential actually remains the same. Applying your intention, honesty, and practice to train your T, that is your thought, energy, and action, so that it's consistent with your gift, your purpose, and your vision. Keep climbing. And you do this simply by running the next play. One play at a time, you climb the steepest grade in the life game on purpose. Through the shadows of fear, you'll find the light, and you'll feel the warmth of your essential self as somewhat of an undercurrent. Welcome to the fourth and final quarter. This is a special time in your game. This is a time to really take heart, to understand and know fear, K-N-O-W. Know fear is its release. And more importantly, to know that love is here and you can surrender to win. Surrender to your purpose and you win. You've probably by now gained some skill at fanning the flames of purpose and you can sense your passion growing. That continues. Keep fanning the flames of purpose and you'll feel that passion grow. Expect miracles in the fourth quarter of your game. The shift from fear to purpose now is substantial. You've done a lot of learning, a lot of growing, your capacities expanded. Knowing your essential self as who you truly are can start to bring a sense of freedom, set you free from the many traps of the fear-based thought system of the ego. This is a time to reach for and realize those peaks of your potential I've been talking about. You can learn to see life in a simplicity of two dimensions. One is living with the power of purpose. You've got a track record now. The other one is bringing that same power of purpose to see and admit what displaces it. Looking at fear on purpose. The other thing that gets very simple is there's really one action to take over and over and over. Decide and run the next play on purpose. It becomes so obvious. All this is kind of backed by knowing that the only way to lose your game on purpose is by not playing. If you played to this point, you've probably learned that. Your shifts from fear to purpose can produce unexpected miracles. You might be surprised. I bet you will. You'll understand the adage that all the darkness in the world can't extinguish the light of just one candle. This happens as you let your light shine from the inside out. Fanning the flames of purpose, grows your passion. And something pretty miraculous can happen. This long-sought mystery of self-love can be dispelled as you've seen the strength, power, and inspiration of your essential self. So, I repeat, take heart, no fear, K-N-O-W, and be here on purpose now. I'm honored to serve as your life purpose guide. I'm happy for the journeys we're taking together. I'll see you on the mountain.